All right, we are live. Welcome, guys. If you're watching on the replay, today we're going to be doing some live sourcing, answering questions. I think we're going to start off on 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹, and then we might do some storefront stalking. We got my cat in the background there. We got Cody Flips, Seth. Cody, what's up? Good to see you. It's been a while since we've live streamed, actually. Yeah, if you're still in the chat, like, how has your business been? I haven't talked to you for a while, but you're actually no, you were literally just messaging me like today about tax exempt. We were talking about tax exempt. Let's go ahead and share screen. I'm gonna share screen in just a second. We'll get started sourcing on 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶. Basically, what 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶 is basically it is a software that basically shoots out online arbitrage deals, specifically eBay to Amazon deals that you can purchase for a cheaper price to sell for profit on Amazon. I'm going to run you guys through some of the very basics of what you're even looking for if you are sourcing. Like, we're going to get really basic for a second. We'll kind of run through some of that. And then we'll go ahead and start sourcing. So I'm going to share my screen here. Sharing the screen. All right. So basically, this is 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶. These are the filters. You can mess with this a bunch of different ways. I'm just going to pull up something random so that I can kind of show you some of the softwares that I'm using so that you can actually make sure you're doing this right. So there's probably, well, I'm trying to think of what softwares you really need, but this is probably the most important software right here. And don't be intimidated by the graph. I'll make it really simple and explain it to you guys if you don't know what that is. That's a 𝗦cije graph. It's actually pretty simple, and I'll explain it pretty simply. But this one's slightly more important. It's called Seller Amp. It's this right here. Basically, the very basic thing that we need with this is there are fees on Amazon. So if you're going to sell on Amazon, there are fees, and that's okay. You're still going to be able to sell things for a higher price most of the time. So let's say we think we're going to be able to sell this for $140. So we would just type in here $140, $139.99, and the fees come out of the $139.99, and we're left with $108.49. And so you might think, oh, that's a lot of fees, whatever. But like on other sites, oftentimes it's even cheaper than that. So there's definitely still space to make money there. Before you make any purchase, you 100% need to be using a calculator like this. I think there are free ones that you can use. And I don't really go super deep into the make money off of people signing up for my softwares type thing. Like, honest to goodness, you just really need some kind of calculator to do this. This one has a lot of different stats on it. It's a really good one. I think there's free ones out there, but if you're going to be putting money into purchases, you should be using something that's relatively decent. This is like $20 a month. So when you're making any purchase, you want to make sure to input the cost of goods and how much you're going to sell it for, and make sure that the profit actually makes sense. So right here, this is the first thing we pulled up. We see a buy cost of $70 plus $8.70. So this is literally just the first thing we pulled up. It's going to be profitable, but it's probably not going to hit the 30% ROI that we want. But it looks like it does actually. So, so it looks like it's going to be 37% ROI and $29 profit, which is awesome. You can start to shoot for higher ROI later if you want to. And then a slightly more advanced thing is that on this listing, there are variations. So oftentimes there's no variations and you don't have to worry about it. But if there's a lot of variations like this, we want to make sure that this is the one that actually sells. And so this is where this 𝗦ciphA comes into to play here. So we see that this is the 40A MPPT. We're seeing the UPC ends in 328. So I want to confirm that they're at least saying that this ends in 328. So it looks like they're not. So another thing that we can do here is search this on Amazon and see what, because sometimes there's things that have multiple UPCs. So we want to make sure that the model number is right as well. I mean, it looks like it's the same thing. We can also look. It would be nice if they had pictures, but this is saying 40A MPPT. So it looks like it's a match. We want to make sure that this variation actually sells. So we're remembering 40A, and you can go to the variations. This is a little bit more of an advanced thing. So if you're feeling overwhelmed at this point, just don't buy stuff with these variations. You just want to make sure that this is actually getting sales. So we're seeing here that this 40A controller is getting 32% of the reviews. So therefore, it's safe to say that this variation is actually getting some traffic here. Not all of the traffic, but some of it. So if this is a 5,000 in patio, lawn, and garden, a trick you can do is go to this free sales estimator. This is saying around 600 sales a month. Yeah, so it's saying on this whole listing, you could get 600 sales a month if you were the only seller. So basically, the reviews were saying 32%. So what is that like? Just ballpark around 180-ish. And then also Amazon is on this listing. So that's another thing to look into. And we're seeing here pretty quick, actually, that it doesn't look like Amazon's sharing the buy box very much. Like just about almost never. So this is one I would avoid. So if you're just getting started, you can avoid the variations. You can avoid the Amazon being on the listing, and you can get into all those nuances later. But to very simply explain what 𝗦ciphA is, just unchecking everything here, is at a very basic level, this green line, we're looking at this top here. The green line, the closer to zero it is, the faster it sells. When the line goes down or stays down, that means there's a sale happening or multiple sales happening. This is selling very quickly. But like we said, Amazon was on the listing. So if this line stays down, that's a good sign that this is selling. See how when the line is even higher, a higher rank, the line goes up and down a little bit less. And then this pink line is the buy box. That's where most of the buying action happens. Most of the people actually take a look and purchase right there where the buy box is. So basically, it's safe to assume that if this green line goes down at any given point where the buy box is, people were getting sales at this 123.99. People were getting sales up here at 160. And you can take a look over the course of time and be like, okay, if I got on this listing, I could probably sell this for at worst $123, at best $170. And you can kind of, there's other things you can take a look at, but at the very basic level, this is 𝗦ciphA. This is really helpful for understanding if there's demand or not. So those are just a couple basics. You want to be using a calculator. You want to be using 𝗦ciphA. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my chat to make sure there's no questions. But we got 𝗦cije_𝗰𝗶 here. Hey, can you explain what to look for when looking for a used product in 𝗦ciphA? Used very good, and used like new. I just don't understand. Sure. So I'm going to share screen again, and I'm going to pull up an example of something that probably would be good to source used. Yeah, I'm going to type in 𝗦ici𝗰𝗶 graphing calculator. Or actually, I'm going to do more like this because I don't know if the condition matters as much on the calculators. Oh, is this a refurbished listing? Yeah, this is the refurbished listing. Great. All right, so we're looking at what you're gonna do if it's used. So before I unclicked a bunch of different stuff, but on 𝗦ici𝗰𝗶 you're gonna want to check these sections here. So basically, this brown is going to be used good. The green is going to be used very good, and the black circles are going to be the used like new. So if I were to source one of these to sell in used condition, I always take a look at the stack of sellers right now and try to kind of see like what's going on here. So we have a used acceptable offer here for 223. And this guy has 4 of them. So, but the whole point of the conditions is that like if you're a buyer and you are gonna buy this used, you're probably more likely to buy a better condition if it's not that much more. So like we definitely be up for buying a used very good at 233 instead of 223. So it seems like the used very good people are at around 233. And this one here, used like new at 235. So we have a used like new that's like quite close to the used very good price. In some cases, the used like new is literally going to be right next to the new price. On other listings, it's going to be like this, where it's closer to the other prices. So, I mean, as a customer, they'd probably be very likely to buy from this person. But like we can kind of see that from the 𝗦ici𝗰𝗶. In the past, someone was selling this used like new at 362. But then for whatever reason, this person sold out, and then another person came on the listing, and they're wanting to sell for this 223 or 235. So like it's kind of an oversight by them. They could probably sell it for more, but you coming on this listing until they sell out might not be able to get more. So you'd have to wait. And this guy has 6 as well. But then again, this is also a relatively fast selling item ish. It's still it's really hard to tell velocity with used items. So I suggest not going super deep until you've done it before, because this guy could sell these in like a couple days, or it could be, I mean, you could go 6 deep on a used item and it take like 6 months. So you want to be like pretty confident that something's going to sell before going deep on stuff. So then from there, if you're like, okay, I'm going to source this, you can just go to eBay. You can go by UPC, or you could just type in Zebra GK 420D. Sort by used. You could probably just click all of them. And probably leave parts off. And so, and it's interesting, we have, you could do this, you could go after an auction. So like if we were able to get it at this price, obviously that's amazing. 14 plus 21 to sell for in the 200s is amazing. The problem that you get into with used items, especially like this, is you need to understand the balance between like the customer needs to have the cords in order for it to work. So like you could message this person and say, hey, what cords does this come with? Because I'm pretty sure these come with a USB cord and a power cord. And without those, the customer's not going to be able to do too much with it. And you're just going to have a high return rate and problems start from there. Or you could buy something like this, and let's say you get this for like $50 plus 21, like $71, and you like buy the cords, and total cost you're at $100. And let's say you even sell used acceptable. Okay, that's $93 profit. That might be worth your time to buy a unit like this and then piece it together and sell it like that. So hopefully that was helpful. Just on every single Keep It graph, there's going to be a different used market. Like for example, there's going to be items where the used like new, kind of like this, is not that valuable, but then there's going to be other items like a Google Nest charcoal. For the used like new, I'm pretty sure it's right below, if I remember right. I think I'm restricted on this one. Yeah. So you see here, like right now, for example, the new price is 95, but the used like new is 81. So it's like you just take a couple percentage off and people are selling just like that. There's even one that I'm on now where I sold a used like new for the same price as new. So that is doable as well. We got Christiana. Let's go. Good to see you. Samit says, well, who gets the used buy box? Does used buy box matter in used items? It's helpful, you know, but like each customer is going to have their different preference. But like in my experience, used like new and used very good sells the fastest, for sure. SN 500, SN me 500. Cody, what's up? Good to see you. Sean says used acceptable doesn't get buy box, but it'll sell eventually. The duck. I love it. Used acceptable is kind of rough. It sells the slowest out of everything and it gets the most returns. So it's like you can throw up some massive ROI and massive potential profits, but then you get slammed with like a 30% return rate. And I'm speaking from experience. In 2022, I think I did 180K in returns. Not in sales. I did 180K in returns, and I was doing mostly used items. And that was a drag. So you gotta be mindful of your business model. Sean says, with used like new, the return rate seems a bit higher though. The amount of people who can't read and get mad, it's used. It's higher than new price for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these days when I sell, like it'll very specifically say used very good or used like new. And I'm just like liquidating something that was new. And I think I literally had a customer today. They're like, I wanted a new item. Well, they didn't read. And like, no, it wasn't $30 cheaper as a new price. It was used. It was for a reason there. Samit says, do you sell video games? If yes, what is the maximum BSR we should go for? I do not sell video games. I probably sold like 10 video games total. So I could share screen and give some perspective here. From what I've thought, usually I wouldn't go above like 30K unless there's stock issues. Is there no video games category here? Isn't it toys and games? Am I crazy? Where's the video games? That's dumb. All right, well, what is Super Smash Bros? Anyway. Ooh, that probably rips renewed. That's smart. All right, I kind of want to get on a non. All right, we'll just go like that. Whoa, this is a fast one. This is like 50 sales rank, 35 in video games. So obviously this rips. 14,000 sales a month. Yeah, anyways, I don't do too many video games, so I'm just gonna say you should make sure that there's more drops in the keep a graph than there are sellers. Sarcasm says, how do you deal with days where you find nothing profitable at all, especially as a beginner with limited capital? If you're a beginner with limited capital, I would suggest being even pickier. Like if you can get yourself to be even pickier, that's a really good thing. Understanding it's a skill that takes time to get comfortable with is a big deal, because like there's just going to be days where you don't find much, or there's going to be days where you deal with other stuff in the business and it takes way too long. But also like switching up your method. Like if you're just like pounding your head against the wall and like nothing's working, like maybe instead of doing flip mine, maybe try storefront stocking. Or if you were doing a keeper product finder, maybe it's time to try flip mine. Or if you were doing one method, maybe it's time to look at some of your historical things that you've sold and try to restock those. Like just restocking stuff that's already sold is such a big deal. Sean says, yeah, when I do acceptable, those are the listing I'll put pictures in. It's a pain. Yeah, I've seen people put pictures in their used acceptable listings. That sounds terrible. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun, but it probably helps a little bit. Yeah, it is demotivating. Another thing you can do too is if you have a couple of friends who are in a similar boat, like ability wise with you, that's helpful too, because you can bounce ideas off of them and you can like share something with them and they might share something back. You don't want to do it from the place of like, I'm sharing something so that you share something back. But like, that's how it ends up happening sometimes. Yes, people explicitly say they thought it was new on the return. Yep. Yeah, like I spent some time processing returns today and I had a couple people do that because I was liquidating stuff. They're like, I wanted new. I had one person literally write no and return it. I'm like, okay, like whatever. Selling video games on Amazon is pretty much suicide. People will buy the game, finish it, and then return it. Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound fun. I cannot confirm or deny that. I've been getting absolutely destroyed with the returns on them. Interesting. Are you ready for the bad storm tonight? Yeah, apparently it's supposed to snow here, and I got my run in earlier so that I don't have to run on Saturday. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I don't have to go anywhere. Is it snowing where you're at? Samit said, search Silent Hill for PlayStation 2. A guy is selling for $909 for a 14-year-old game. I am going to share screen and take a look. Oh, yes. So, back. What was it? Silent Hill PS2. For. Yeah, and then another thing that's been a problem for me is I've had repricing errors on video games, really bad repricing errors. Yeah, so 909. But this guy hasn't had a repricing error, which is interesting. There was one, yeah, and sometimes it's hard to tell, like, is this person actually getting sales or are they just trying? Because like they've been in stock since April 2023. And I would assume they're getting sales, but like, I wonder if they had multiple copies. So you could look at offers, additional, uncheck used, uncheck this, and then go to all. So they only had one stock, it seems. And if they only had one stock, their FBA, it looks like they haven't gotten the sale yet. So like sometimes you have to read between the lines a little bit. Just because the green lines are going down doesn't mean the new offer is getting sales. So that's helpful to know, but at least for him, he's not getting repricing errors. Because if I tried to do this, if I got on the Keep a Graph at this point and was like, boy, there's nobody new here, and I listed something for $900, I'd get a repricing error. So what's up, dude? Good to see you. How's FBM treating you? Switching back to FBA. I am continuing to do FBM. I'm not switching back to FBA. I'm enjoying having my money feel more liquid. Even though the volume has slowed down a lot from Q4 for sure. And it's a lot of work, and processing all the returns from FBM is a pain. But yeah, what about you? Are you still doing FBM or are you switching to FBA? Sean says, do you charge a restocking fee? I just eat it and build it into margin. It's not worth the bad feedback to me. And yeah, that seems to be the used market driving the rank. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I try and choose my battles a little bit. I definitely charge restocking fees sometimes. It really depends on the situation. Yeah. My feedback's not that great though, so don't know if you should be listening to me on that. You're probably, if you want to prioritize your feedback, then do this. But I do, I kind of prioritize. I want to give the customer a good experience, but if they like scam me or like destroy the item and send it back, like there's a point I kind of want to like get my money back and like just I'll take the bad feedback. Loch Ness says FBM all the way. Volume has slowed. Returns not much of an issue. Sticking with high ticket items. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I low key want to be more and more picky, or even just be like, I'm only selling X type of item. Like it's on my to-do list to like sit down and strategize and be like, okay, what do I want out of my store? But I am sticking with more high ticket items, but I'm making exceptions if I find like bulk of something that's like 30, 50, 70, $100, I'll buy those. Which category do I sell the most? I think my biggest category is electronics. I think I'm going to look it up real quick. But I'm 99% sure it's electronics. Yeah. I'm probably 70% electronics. Yep. All right. Well, it was good hanging out with everyone. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you're not subscribed yet, it helps me kind of understand that this is something that is helpful to you guys. I do have a free Discord that I'd love to connect with you guys in the description below. But with that being said, have a great rest of your day and take care.